So Carousel was very interesting. I actually, like, because you wrote Carousel, I don't usually connect with a lot of songs that I don't actually, like, write myself. But there was something about this song that connected with me in a very deep way. And I felt, like, very moved to sing it when you sent it to me. Just because of the context and I felt like my voice was almost, like, needed on this song. It was really weird. I felt like that, even, like, we met so randomly. And then suddenly you sent that song. It was just so serendipitous the way everything came about. And then, it's like we were discussing earlier about these loops we get trapped in life. I always end up getting in some deep discussion about loops. We get these patterns that we get trapped in. And, like, breaking our loops, basically breaking our bad habits, for me I'm always telling myself, okay, what are my loops that I'm trapped in and how do I break them? And this literally is a mental process I've been going through for years. Like, because every time you think you've broken all your bad habits and your loops, you just realize it just brings to the surface other bad habits and other loops. I realize our whole brain is built to create loops and to trap us into loops. It creates this sort of safety network. It doesn't want us to expand outside of ourselves. It wants to keep us safe all the time. And so it creates these loops. So the only way to expand is to just keep breaking them. And this reminded me of that a lot on a deep level. I don't know if you experienced that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I constantly. I have, like, I always describe it as like, man, this feels like Groundhog Day, where I've felt the same feeling day after day, you know, and it's like, you're right, it's like always one thing, or once you break that one thing that's kind of, you know, taking you off a bit, the next thing appears, and the next thing appears. But, like, recently I've been kind of, like, stopping to think more, and, like, I don't know, like, my brain works at 1,000,000 miles a minute, most of it just very ADD, so like trying to kind of like slow myself down so I can, like, fully process information and, like, respond accordingly.
I've been doing something that feels like, I call it decentration, because I guess through learning to meditate, it's a lot of people are just, like, trying to concentrate on one thing. Like, how do I focus on one thing and just hold this thought? And then doing the opposite of actually trying to have nothing, literally no information, not feel any of my senses, like totally detached from everything that makes me feel like a body. Oh man, it's been the most craziest experience of, like, getting ideas. It's actually our whole experience of having senses is one of the biggest limitations that we have in receiving information from the ether. I just had that Zoolander moment where he's like, has that mini phone where he's like,
the little one.
God.
But I totally feel that of like I feel like a lot of the time there's something that pulls me in a direction of, like, when I don't know, like, I feel like I'm where I need to be in a lot of aspects because I kind of let myself be kind of whisked into those situations, if that makes sense. Like,
oh, totally.
I just, like, for instance, like, you know, if I'm sitting on the bus and somebody needs a seat, I'll get up because the standing doesn't really, like, I don't mind, you know, or, like, just giving somebody else a feature on the song, or, like, you know, producing something for somebody else just because it's a dope song, you know, like,
it's like just being very giving, actually.
or just being there for the good times.
Yeah.